A high-profile family real estate company gobbled up dirt-cheap foreclosed houses in Grand Rapids from banks eager to unload them.
Now, Target 8 investigator Henry Erb has found that the marathon buying binge has left the city's biggest residential landlord struggling to keep up.
Life was looking good for Victor Escribano Jr. and his family. His wife, 3 children, and his father, a disabled veteran, moved into this home at 1440 Escott Northwest last June. They were buying the house on a land contract. That's like rent to own. The seller owns the house until the buyer pays it off over time. Then there was a surprise.
A court officer came here from Mercantile Bank saying, the properties, you don't pay Beckett's anymore, you pay us.
Then last week, the bank filed suit to foreclose on the house and 11 others, saying Beckett Investments was in default.
We just got another letter saying that the house is going into foreclosure, so we're losing the house because the Becketts haven't paid the taxes, they haven't paid their mortgage.
We've reached a deal. If we're working on 3 or 4 different options.
Beckett CEO Josh Beckett says he's working to square things with the bank and has negotiated new mortgage deals with all the lenders with which they have mortgages. The Beckett family is currently the biggest residential landlord in Grand Rapids, touting their family and Christian values on their business website. They own a collection of companies operating out of this office on Plainfield and, until last December, this building on Fuller near Michigan. The Becketts may control more than 400 properties in the Grand Rapids area. To become the biggest, they capitalized on the foreclosure crisis. They bought foreclosed properties cheap for a fraction of their former value. For example, 611 New Southwest was worth $60,000 7 years ago. The Becketts snagged it out of foreclosure for $15,000. They financed their buying binge with traditional bank loans and loans from private investors. The Becketts may have bought more houses than they can handle.
Roaches scattered, and there was a bunch of sticky stuff on the floor.
The now former tenant at 611 U didn't stay long after city inspectors found the Becketts hadn't registered it as a rental and listed 29 code violations.
How do you plead? Plead guilty?
Beckett CEO Josh Beckett pled guilty to a misdemeanor housing code violation in November after failing to make repairs on time at 922 First Northwest. Beckett said fire damage was worse than they thought when they bought it, and it took longer than expected to fix it.
We should have got it done quicker, but it is completed and it's livable, and it's a great asset now to the community, the neighborhood.
Last June, a district court judge ordered the Becketts to pay a judgment of nearly $25,000, a record in the memory of veteran housing inspectors who cited them for numerous code violations on 77 properties.
We've just about gotten done with all of our rehabs. It took us almost 3 years to get these all done.
Target 8 investigators have uncovered something else, unpaid property taxes. Using a list of some 250 rental properties registered with the city, we slogged through tax databases. We discovered that as of last October, the Becketts owed at least $526,000 in delinquent taxes on 154 properties.
We don't usually have big amounts like that from one taxpayer.
Josh Beckett says the company ran into cash flow problems and bought too many foreclosed houses.
We have tried to sell. The whole plan was buy and sell some. Well, the market for selling hasn't been great, and we have 100 and some properties on the market for sale.
He said that when they were buying several foreclosed houses a week, the experts were saying the real estate market would have recovered by now, but it hasn't.
Well, we've totally reorganized.
Beckett says they closed their Fuller Avenue office and gotten out of the real estate business to concentrate on rentals and property management, laid off employees and sold some houses in an effort to catch up on their unpaid taxes.
We wanted to shore up our cash flow, plan for the worst, hope for the best.
In Grand Rapids, I'm Target 8 investigator Henry Erb.